All right, let's get to some breaking news here on the employment data. January job openings coming in at 8.86 million. Now that was a drop of by 26,000 from the prior reading, looking back to the December note here, but it was also slightly lower than what the street, slightly higher than what the street was looking for. The estimate here was for 8.85 million. So coming in at 8.86 million. The January job opening rate, 5.3%. That was flat versus the prior month. Pace of hiring coming in slightly below what we saw the prior month here at 3.6% versus 3.7% reading that we saw back in December. And take a look at layoffs and discharges. That was at 1% in January, essentially flat from what we saw in the December reading. Joining us now for more on the labor market, our very own Josh Schaefer. Josh, we're taking a look at these data points. Obviously, this is in the rearview mirror. This is a reading on the labor market and the moves that we saw looking back to January. We also got the ADP report out this morning. How does this set us up, though, ahead for Friday?
Yeah, I mean, I think overall, when you take a look at this number for January, basically the risks seem, at least to me and some economists out there, to the upside, right? It would be if you were to see more openings than expected, openings increase. I think that might have been what would start to concern people. Remember, for the large part here, we've been looking for that openings number to come down. It was abnormally high during the pandemic. It's been on a trajectory down. You're looking for that quote unquote better balance between job openings and job hires. So you would think the market would generally digest this as a positive number, or at least a number that is in trend with what the Federal Reserve is looking for. And I think that's broadly what Chair Powell is saying in his testimony today, and broadly what the trends have been in the labor market. I think that January number that we got in total non-farm payrolls, remember over 350,000, was sort of an eye-popping moment for the job market, and it was a, oh boy, are we picking back up? You had the high wage number, you had a high overall number for job gains in January, according to the BLS, in that non-farm payrolls report. And so really the concern was just, is that happening broadly? Shauna, you mentioned that ADP report, and when you take a look at that this morning, that doesn't seem to necessarily be the trend. We should note ADP's additions have been significantly lower than the non-farm payrolls that we get on Fridays for a while now. So I don't know if that's really an indicator of what we're going to get on Friday. One interesting note I would highlight from that ADP survey that was out this morning, payments coming out. Wage growth for job changers increased for the first time since November 2022. ADP chief economist Neil Richardson told me on the press call this morning, essentially, it's not boiling hot, but there is an aspect of wages that we do need to keep watching here. And I think that's sort of, from the two different data points we got today, maybe the prevailing takeaway for what to watch on Friday is, where is wage growth? We know inflation right now has been a little bit stickier than people expected. Wage growth plays a part in that. Is wage growth going to keep coming down, or is that going to become a bigger story? I think is one of the key things to look at.
Yeah, according to the ADP data, annual pay up 5.1% in this most recent report. Josh, thanks so much for breaking these down.